Warning, the RCWR Show with Lee Sanders is intended for a mature audience only. The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive. Covering the latest in wrestling and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. Now, your host, live from the nation's capital in Washington, D.C., Lee Sanders.
Hey, Rob. Lee Sanders of the RCWR Show. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Lee?
Hey, I'm pretty good. So you're live right now with our audience here. How's your week and going so far?
Oh, so far pretty good. Just got back in town yesterday and scrambling, trying to get caught up and continuing to get work done.
I hear you. And what fine work it is, man. I got to tell you, first off, before I go any further, I really appreciate you taking the time out to do this, not just for me, but definitely for our listeners. And anybody that knows me, they know how much of a big fan I am of artwork of any kind. And I got to tell you, I don't know if you had heard in the setup, but you know who your artwork reminds me a lot of? It's, and he's one of my favorite artists in the comic book world, Alex Ross.
Oh, thank you. That's a big compliment.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes, I don't just throw that away. I sincerely mean that. And it's so funny because what I've been able to learn about you over the years, you and me actually kind of have somewhat of a similar background because I do a bit of drawing and painting myself. And I'm just curious, did you actually go to a special high school or anything for your skills?
No, but I had a really good art program in high school. Especially one teacher, Mr. Williams, that I stay in touch with to this day. He still teaches, and I'm always happy to help him out wherever I can.
Right. That is awesome. Yeah, I mean, like almost mirror image because I went to a specialty high school myself. I don't know if you ever heard of it, Duke Ellington School of the Arts in Washington, D.C. And
cool.
Yeah, it had like a lot of alumni. I mean, Dave Chappelle graduated from there. My God, the list just goes on and on. But like, yes, like I'm looking at your artwork over the years and I'm like, man, this guy is awesome. So it's definitely an honor to have you here on the show. And I know we probably have some newer listeners that might not be that familiar with you, but they definitely know your artwork when they see it because it's tied to the WWE. Can you do me a favor and tell the folks about how you got into drawing and painting initially? Like, where'd the inspiration come from? How long did it take you to realize you had something special that you could share with the world in due time?
Yeah, it started with comic books. I was 7 years old, and my older stepbrother got me a copy of The Incredible Hulk, and we spent like the whole weekend redrawing everything in there, and I just knew right then I wanted to be the person that makes something like this. And, for a long time, just learned everything I could about how to make comic books and had some success here and there, with getting things published. But over time, realized like this was never, I was always going to have a day job to pay for my art career. And I was doing gallery work on the side. My wife had a friend that had a gallery, so did a show, and that was a pretty good success. But even then, still had to have a day job. And eventually, I was looking for a subject matter that no one else was really doing. And I realized, as a wrestling fan, there wasn't anyone doing serious fine art about pro wrestling. And then it was like, oh, no one's doing this. I better jump in. And it took off pretty huge from there.
I see from time to time there's some wrestlers that, hey, great, you're going back to painting them again, but I just kind of want to put you on the spot. Maybe your answer has changed over the years, but I'm just a little bit curious. What, if you had to pick like maybe top 5, who are the wrestlers that you find yourself painting the most?
I've probably done the most of, the guys like Undertaker or Macho Man. One, there's a lot of demand, and 2, there's just so much for me to work with. Like I always equate it to like in comic books, if you're going to do a drawing of Superman, you're going to be drawing Superman. But if you're going to draw Batman, it's like anything, right? Same thing with guys like Undertaker or Bray Wyatt or Ultimate Warrior or Macho Man, you can do anything, right? Like if you're going to do a painting of John Cena, you're going to do a painting of John Cena. But with these other guys, there's just so much more freedom, and I kind of gravitate towards that.
Ah, okay. Now, I see that you've been working for the WWE a couple of years now, dealing with their Mania Access weekend. It looks like your first was being at WrestleMania 30. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So let me ask you, does the fan in you still come out that you're living such an awesome dream right now? Or are you able to find a balance? Like, are you still getting the butterflies?
No, I've been with them for 4 years now, so the butterfly part is pretty well gone. Although, occasionally there will be, like, okay, a few weeks ago, I was working behind the scenes at Raw, and Jeff Hardy and Matt Hardy were there. It's my first time meeting them. And when I first became a fan back in like 98, 99, that act was my favorite. So, I was mostly like, I hope they're not jerks, right? Like that was my only like real worry there,
right.
Because I was such big fans of them. And it turned out to not be the case at all. Like Jeff and I ended up spending like half an hour just talking about painting techniques. And Matt was great too. Turns out he watches the canvas to canvas videos I do for WWE. It was pretty surreal.
That's a great series, by the way. I can't stress that enough. If you all have not checked that out on YouTube, you need to. It's really, really awesome. And I kind of like now, and Rob, you can kind of back me up or correct me on this, but it kind of seems like you in your own way were kind of like a pioneer in introducing that. And now we're kind of seeing like this trend now, like Todd McFarlane just started getting on that now. Is it kind of flattering at your end to kind of see that more artists are kind of gravitating towards that more and more, showing a video series of them drawing some of the most iconic characters and all that in real time?
Yeah, man, it's cool. I don't know that I was a pioneer, maybe just someone that was a little more visible than some others, but there were definitely people before me and that I heard you doing it better than me. But now, Canvas to Canvas is the longest running original content show on WWE's YouTube channel and the longest running ever. It's a distinction I'm pretty dang proud of.
Awesome. And you were just touching upon the Hardy Boys not too long ago. I was going to ask you later on, but since you had went there, let me ask you, how was it seeing the Hardy Boys at this past year's WrestleMania? Like, did it take you by surprise? Because, like, we heard all the reports leading up to it, and we're kind of like, nah, it's not happening. But for it to happen, like, did you mark out?
Well, I gotta say, it was a good thing that there was no roof on that building, because the crowd reaction would have blown it right off. Also, I was there with my wife and my best friend who had helped me add access, and so I treated them to the show. And my best friend is a lawyer, and with all the stuff revolving around the Hardys, he was like, okay, I'm really interested in this match. But it was fun. It was really cool. It was obviously a huge surprise. Like New Day came out in their gear. So like people didn't know which way it was going to go. Like, were they announcing that they were going to join? And then it was the Hardys. And yeah, again, if there had been a roof, it would have blown right off.
That would have been it, yeah. Now, I've got to ask you, because I don't really see this floating around on the net, but with regards to this past year's WrestleMania, I want to just get your brain, pick on your brain for a little bit, get you in the hot seat. We saw one of the greatest moments possibly occur with Roman Reigns. It looked as though, I'll say looked as though, because I know some people are going to be like, nah, Lee, don't go there. But it looked as though Roman Reigns retired The Undertaker. Obviously, with the number of works you've done of Undertaker over the years, there's definitely that part of you that's a fan. But I'm just curious, how were your emotions when you saw that go down in real time with Taker losing?
Well, my wife especially took it really, really hard. I mean, like, she was sobbing as if a family member had just passed away. When she was growing up, well, okay, when she and I first started dating, it was Royal Rumble 2007. And I invited her over to my friend's place. We were having a watch party because that's what you do with the Royal Rumble. And she's like, "Oh, wrestling, whatever." But we were new in the relationship, so she wanted to be the good girlfriend. And she came over, and like first Ric Flair came out, and she's like, "Wait, like I remember seeing Ric Flair when I was a kid." And then the Undertaker came out, and she's like, "Is this the same Undertaker?" And I'm like, "Yeah, same guy." And it turned out her dad, notorious cheapskate. I can say this because I love him and I give him a hard time for it. But he loves wrestling. Grew up watching it, and but he was a notorious cheapskate. And back then, like with the cable box, you could turn the channel to the pay-per-view channel, and you could hear it. But otherwise, it was just snow on your TV. And so my wife's favorite wrestler as a kid was The Undertaker, but she had never actually seen him. She'd only ever heard him.
Wow.
And so, and then he ended up winning that Rumble when she came over. And over time, through like this common love of wrestling, like I've become, very, very close to my now father-in-law, and it actually strengthened their relationship. So seeing him potentially retiring there in front of us, and also we were at WrestleMania 24 for Ric Flair's quote retirement match, and it was one of those moments where you realize like how much this kind of thing like directly affects you.
Right. Yeah, I can't tell you, when I like came on live after Mania went off the air, there were like so many people that were just like, they were sobbing. You know what it reminded me of? It was almost kind of equivalent to like the death of Superman, because everybody's like, "No, not the Undertaker." It's like everybody felt like, including myself, I kind of felt like I sincerely lost a loved one. And I think that's just the power of really the man behind the character of the Undertakers. A lot of credit needs to go to Mark, and then just over the decades, just the different incarnations we've seen of the Undertaker, right? And just how he's been able to stay relevant all these years and placed in some really good story arcs. I mean, when you just combine all of those things, that's just the stuff dreams are made of, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Although purely speculation, for the record, I stay as far away from any kind of creative plans or talent relations or anything, because I want to be a fan too, right?
Right.
So just pure speculation. On the day that Undertaker goes into the Hall of Fame, we want him to give a speech, right? And it wouldn't be right for the dead man to give a speech. However, maybe the American Badass could give a speech, and maybe what we saw at Mania with putting the jacket and the hat down was the end of the dead man, but maybe there's one last ride left. Just putting that out there.
Oh, I did not. Oh my God. Interesting. I like that theory.
I think he's got one more big boot, choke slam, and last ride in him. I think it's there.
Okay. Now, look, I got to pick your brain a little bit because we're fresh off of Backlash. Did you get a chance to check out the event, or at least the highlights?
I saw like maybe the last quarter of it. We were traveling back from a show, but definitely saw the last 2 or 3 matches.
I put you in the hot seat. What did you make of Jinder Mahal becoming the WWE champion?
Dude, I'm all about it. I really am.
Yeah.
And just, tonight on SmackDown, that celebration was tremendous.
Yes.
Like, I'm a huge fan of Indian culture. So like the dancers and how everything was done, I'm loving it. I'm loving that he's essentially the anti-American Bret Hart persona, but for India. Because like if you listen, everything he's saying, if you're in India or you're a person of Indian descent, you're like, yeah, dude, this guy's all about this, right? Like he's my Hulk Hogan. But then for the American crowd, they're like, oh, boo this guy, right? And I think that's awesome. That's a hard balance to pull off, and I think he's doing it perfectly.
Perfectly, yes. I'm happy for this guy because, I mean, I just saw everything that was going on with him, like, just rewinded months back. Like, you go, wow, Jinder's working now. He taking this to a whole new level. And then, like, I can't tell you how many people were sending me private messages and all that. And Rob, they were like, nah, man, are you crazy? No, they're not gonna. I'm like, well, if you don't do it now, because you got a good white hot storyline going on. And I'm a sucker for, and I love that WWE is kind of doing this. I don't know if you would agree, but like, I love when they kind of borrow elements like ripped from the headlines. And in the case of Jinder Mahal, it's kind of like just everything that's going on with the world. It kind of comes off, they borrowed a little something. Say what you will. I ain't going to get into the talk of politics, but you kind of go, yeah, why not, right?
Yeah. And they're also recognizing that the second highest populated country in the world is India.
Yes.
And that's a market that they're trying to get into. And I think having someone like Jinder, the people can get behind, and also it's a main event act. It's also very similar to like when Bradshaw became JBL, right? Like it's that kind of transformation, and I'm digging it. I really am.
It's really refreshing right now, and I mean, it just like upped the ante even more of the SmackDown brand overall. What was it that AJ Styles had said a while back? He said, SmackDown makes them, Raw takes them, and, I'm looking at Jinder Mahal, and I'm just going, man, I'm loving this, but then I'm kind of also thinking about what AJ said, and I'm like, yeah, he's probably going to go to Raw, but you know what? That's down the road. I'm going to enjoy this for all it's worth right now. It is a much-needed refresher, I got to say, and I would tell people that like maybe don't like what's going on with Jinder being the champion. The one thing that you cannot dispute is the fact that it has everybody talking, and the fact that it has everybody talking, Rob, it's like WWE, they did their job. It's got your eyes on the product.
Doing the job. And if you really want to see him get beat and someone else take that title, that's him doing his job. Like, again, going back to JBL, like, I remember just hating him, right? And then it hit me like, oh, I hate this guy. Okay, he's doing good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Now, you and me are going to be part of something really, really cool. And is part of the reason, one of the main reasons why we got hooked up together. And that's coming up in June. We're going to be part of Awescome-con. That's going to be happening at the Convention Center in Washington, D.C., June 16th through the 18th. Tell the folks about the event and what's bringing you to Awescome-con this year.
The guy that runs the show, Ben, is a wrestling fan, and they're bringing in some wrestlers. I believe, I don't know if the names have been announced yet or not, but they wanted to invite me out to the show, and I've always wanted to go to DC. I've got family in the area, so I'd love to see them. And yeah, I haven't done a lot of appearances on the East Coast, so I figure this would be a great one to do. I'm really excited, and I'm thinking that what I'm going to paint live there. I all my appearances always paint live, and what I have in mind is for my rivalry series, where I'm painting notable rivalries throughout history. I'm going to do a little bit more of a modern one that I think will stand the test of time, and I'm heavily thinking about AJ Styles versus John Cena.
Ooh, I would love to see that. I would love to see that.
I think there's a lot I can do with that.
That is awesome. And to follow up on what you just said, as far as I know right now, I know Jerry the King Lawler is going to be there, but he's mainly going to be there representing the Headlock comic book. He's going to have a booth. Shinsuke Nakamura and Charlotte Flair are going to be there.
There you go. Those were the ones I heard.
Yeah, they're going to be there. Yeah, that
I just didn't want to spoil any announcements.
Yeah, no, they put it out. I was like,
okay.
They put it out like they put it out about almost 3 weeks ago.
Okay. I've been out of town pretty much nonstop for the last month.
I will admit, I have the butterflies right now because this is actually going to be like the first time. Like, I've been doing my show for 6 years, and this is the first time I'm actually taking my show out on the road because we've been invited to be part of the press media for this event. You got any tips? You got any advice you can give me to try to kill off any butterflies I might be having?
Try to find a fun, off-the-wall question. Like if they're going to do like any kind of like media thing where they're lining people up for you and, you ask them each a few questions. Mm-hmm. If you're doing like some kind of junket thing, like have your normal questions that you would ask, but try to find something fun. Like a friend of mine did this at Access and, she had her normal wrestling questions for everyone, but then she had a picture of pants on a dog. Like two different ways, whether it would be like lower half pants, like for all four legs, or the pants for the back. And then she asked the wrestlers which one would be appropriate. So something like that. Okay. Where they would not expect that kind of question. Okay. That's what you want to throw at them.
Okay, I like that. I got to remember that. That's me. I'm just, like, as soon as you said that, I just got the visual in my head, and I'm just kind of going, which one is more suitable? Which one? Oh my God, that is crazy. Well, look, I know I'm going to be there covering the event for all 3 days, so I mean, hopefully, I get to see you, and hopefully we'll have a couple of minutes where maybe we can try to do something on the spot for the listeners or whatnot, because I'm bringing it all. I already got my equipment together. I'm staying at a really nice hotel too. I'm not telling you guys where I'm staying at because I don't want you all stalking me and Rob, but I'm at a nice hotel. I'm down the street, that much I'll say. But again, that's going to be happening June the 16th through the 18th. In Washington, D.C. at the Convention Center. For you guys that maybe are a little bit more interested, if you happen to find yourself in the Washington, D.C. area and you're trying to go to that event, head on over to Awescome-con.com. Let me help you spell that out because it's not all jammed together. It's awesome, put in the hyphen, that little dash, con, and then .com. Make sure you put all that in there. It's pretty awesome, Rob. A lot of great guests are going to be there. I see we got David Tennant, notable for being one of the Doctor Who's. He was also on that Jessica Jones Netflix series. I thought he did a superb job on that one. I don't know if you had checked that out.
Oh, he was creepy as hell on there.
He was. I was like, oh my God, like, where has this been?
Yeah.
I was like, hello. And Stan Lee, come on, the godfather of comics, Stan Lee. Got a lot of good content that's been coming out these past couple of years, comic book wise. I gotta ask you, what has been the most surprising to you so far as comic movie adaptation? What, took you by surprise saying, wow, I didn't know it was going to be this good? And what are you eagerly anticipating these days?
Boy. I was really surprised by the first season of Daredevil on Netflix. I thought it was like The Wire with Kung Fu. I really dug that. And then also Luke Cage. I thought that was probably the freshest thing since that. And that was the show that introduced me to hip hop guy Jadena, who I'm a massive fan of now. So, so just from that, I'm happy. I mean, man, his new album is the bomb. Overall, I'm a fan of sequential art. And so a lot of the adaptations are obviously, solid movies or TV shows, but at the end of the day, I still think comic books do them better. And so that's where my love really is. Although also Winter Soldier and Civil War, both of those were really good. Winter Soldier might be the best movie Marvel's done. The only thing that I would argue with that would like maybe be like Guardians of the Galaxy or the first Iron Man. Mm-hmm. But I thought Winter Soldier, top to bottom, was just a solid movie.
Okay. And what are you most eagerly anticipating these days?
Well, I still actually haven't seen Logan, so I need to make a point to fix that. So something that's already been out, already gone through the theaters. But man, I'm never freaking home anymore, so I never get to see any movies. Like if it's a night off, my wife and I just want to sit on the couch with the cats and do nothing. But yeah, I want to see Logan. New Thor looks fun. Mm-hmm. So far, I haven't been a real big into the DC movies, but I think the shows are fun. Mm-hmm. Like Flash and iZombie. That's a lot of fun. But also, have you seen the trailer for Black Lightning yet?
I did. It looks awesome.
Dude, that looks awesome. Great.
Yeah.
Is it Clark Peters, the lead? He was in Friday Night Lights, and I was just blown away by his performance in that. And so seeing him in a role like this, and that they're going with, more the kind of the Grant Morrison take that he's got, the daughters, and now they're involved in stuff. Or I guess that was more Judd Winnick, but I can go deep on this. I saw that trailer and I was like, oh, they're doing this right. I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be freaking awesome. I got to give a shout out to one of our listeners, Razor, because I'm right there with you, Rob. I did not see Logan either, so don't feel bad. Razor's saying in the chat, Logan came out today on Blu-ray. Thank you, Razor. I know where I will be this weekend. I will be at Best Buy, and I will be grabbing me a copy. I'm with you. Like, Daredevil, that first season, like, I have been a longtime fan of Vincent D'Onofrio since Full Metal Jacket.
Oh, and best villain Marvel's had.
Yes.
On TV or movies or anything. Like, that's something they've really been hurt by. Is like, Loki's great, but there's never really that sense of dread. Mm-hmm. But like, Kingpin on there, Wilson Fisk, nailed it. Nailed it.
Nailed it perfectly. I mean, to the point you go, hey, did you know Michael Clark Duncan had played Kingpin? And you go, huh, what? You're like, what universe? and at that you say, an alternate universe,
Very alternate.
Yeah. Shout out to Brendan. Brendan is saying The Flash is amazing and Black Lightning looks incredible, especially since the guy who's playing the lead character was on Heart of Dixie. Yep, without a doubt. Brendan's a huge fan of all the stuff happening on, what is it now? I lost track of it. Is it now WB or is it CW now?
CW now.
Is CW? Yeah. Man, I tell you what, for you, I might actually give it another try, but like, they rubbed me the wrong way with the way they ended Smallville. I mean, dude, I'm waiting like 10 seasons, and I'm like, okay, the suit. It's about the suit. I'm going to see him in the suit. And me and my best friend, who I love like a sister, her name's Ebony, and we're like every single, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever, and we're just speakerphone, and we're just watching the entire episode. Then we're checking out Supernatural. And then, like, we go to that final season, and we're like, okay, here we go. We go to that last episode. We're anticipating it, and we never see a full body shot, close-up shot of my man in the suit. And her husband, he goes, so let me see if I got this straight. He's a huge comic book fan. He's like, let me see if I got this straight. You guys been watching every single episode of this show for like 10 years, right? Like, yeah. And you didn't get to see my man in the suit. I say, yeah. Man, y'all got swerved.
Yeah, it was very similar to the final episode of Star Trek Enterprise, where you find out it was all a holodeck simulation. Spoiler.
Yes.
The comic book writer Warren Ellis had a term for it that I use every now and then. Like, you always hear about jumping the shark, right? Like Fonzie on the surfboard jumping over a shark. But he said that this was more like shark bukkake. all the sharks jump out of the water and do something really terrible to the fawns.
That is crazy.
That's how both those finales were.
Yeah, I agree. I got another question for you. It's not really a question, it's a statement, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it into a question. Did we hear about Joss Whedon taking over as director for the post-production of Justice League? Yeah, I heard about it, but I definitely want to get Rob's take on it. What do you make of that? You think it's, if anything, going to be better in the hands of Josh?
I think he's going to come in and shoot it the way that it was going to be shot, and doing it out of respect for Snyder having to step out due to his very real family obligations. I don't like, and it's just for like reshoots. It's not for like finishing the principal photography of it. Mm-hmm. So I think it'll be done in a way that services what's already been made.
I don't really think there's going to be that much that's going to be sacrificed. I think it's going to be Zack Snyder's vision to the extreme. It's just somebody just, as you mentioned, they're just basically coming in, pretty much linking it up and everything. I think we'll see a little bit of Josh. We'll still feel a little bit in there somewhere, but
there might be some shawarma or something in there.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even know that he had a family tragedy. I was talking to a couple of my coworkers about it today, and they were like, "Nah, that's news to me." Did you know about the family tragedy by chance? Because this is the first time
they kept it very private,
okay.
and just made the announcement. I think maybe yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had kept it private because that's the kind of thing that you don't want to be doing the media circles around.
Right. Well, I tell you what, they did a superb job keeping that close to the vest, because that went down in March and we're just now hearing about it. So, I hope that for the Snyder family, nothing but the very best, that they're able to, it's without a doubt a tragic ordeal. And at this point, family first. That's what I always say. Family first. Everything else can wait. And Razor. Yeah. No, trust me. We're aware, man. We're aware of what's going on. Come on. It's supposed to be happy. Let's get back to happiness. I'm like reading the comments here. Rob, you're lucky. You're not reading the comments. I'm like reading the comments, and I'm like kind of getting the Debbie Downer and everything. Yeah. Did you see? Did you see the Justice League trailer? What are you making of that?
I hope it's fun. I personally really did not like Man of Steel, and I have not seen Batman versus Superman just because it was all the same people involved, so that gave me the hint that I was not going to enjoy that either. Mm-hmm. That said, I have a lot of really good friends that thought that Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman were the best things ever made. So it's definitely subjective. But I like what, the bits that I've seen from the Wonder Woman movie coming out. Mm-hmm. And it sounds like with Justice League, they're wanting to pivot a bit more towards the fun. Mm-hmm. Which I'm on board with. Like, as a kid, I really liked the heroic ideals of the DC Comics characters. Mm-hmm. Marvel was more, like what's happening outside your window, and DC was what you aspired to be. And I would like to see maybe more of a move back towards that, because I think right now we need more things to aspire towards. We need more heroes.
I agree with that. 100%. I don't know if you heard this. I like looking up trivia stuff just to know, but I remember reading in the news about 2 weeks ago, I believe it was Regal Cinema, and like leading up to when Wonder Woman was released, they were giving away like only 1,000 commemorative Wonder Woman tickets. And like the thing was, you could, with this ticket, you had to pay like about somewhere between $500 to, I want to say maybe about $1,000 for this commemorative ticket. And what was so special about this ticket, right, is you could see Wonder Woman once a day, every day in that month. You choose the time, but you do not get a drink. You do not get popcorn. You just get the bragging rights that you're able to see Wonder Woman once a day for 30 days. And I'm kind of going, are you serious? Like, I can see that for Star Wars, right? But, like, seriously.
I'll tell you what, though, like, I was just at Wizard World Des Moines this past weekend, and the number of little girls dressed like badass Wonder Women was really high and really inspiring. And it was definitely like the same vibe that we had about a year and a half ago with the women's revolution in WWE, like how there was that sea change there. You know, like these girls were dressed like little warriors, not like whatever the heck Wonder Woman's costume was for a long time there. And I think that's just really freaking cool.
Speaking of women's revolution, how have you been enjoying it so far? Any girls in particular jump out to you that's really taking you as a favorite?
Man, I'm loving it. Everything about it. Again, like at the show this past weekend, there's this young girl that I see each year there, and she might be like 12 or 13. And I was asking her like what she was most looking forward to at Backlash, and she's like, "Oh, the women's match." You know, like always, you know, like anything from the women's division, that's what I'm after. And you know, she was not a wrestling fan until like I guess like saw, you know, Becky Lynch and Charlotte and Sasha and all of them like doing their thing and like got into it. And like knowing all these women personally, like either I'm friendly with them or straight up friends, like Natty and Charlotte both, like I talk with pretty frequently. How hard they work and how much they've done and how inspiring they are to young people everywhere is just tremendous. And then these past two WrestleManias, you know, like last year, first time that there were grand entrances for the women at WrestleMania. If you stop and think about it. And I think that's huge, right? And like Charlotte coming out wearing the robe for the first time at WrestleMania, and then this year with that peacock robe and the fireworks and everything, and you know, like Sasha riding the car down, like the only other person that was on a vehicle was Triple H. So they're saying that she's at that level, right? And you know, like, you know, Bayley's big entrance, and then Nia not even needing the entrance, just owning that ramp on the way down. And then, you know, also with the SmackDown match that was on there, and you know, just how hard they all worked, and that there were two matches on the main card. You know, we've come so far, and neither of them felt like filler. You know, they were real WrestleMania level matches. I love that, and I'm super excited about the now named Mae Young Classic, the women's tournament. Like, and that to me is saying that the company is wanting to bring more women in. Like, they're finally like really committing to this, and they see the need for more women so that it's not just all of them just trading wins and losses. I think that's going to be really big. And something that I've been saying for a while is there's the very real possibility right now that the next face of the WWE will be a woman's face.
Now, if you had your pick, who would you go with?
You know, if your little kid comes to you and says, "I want to watch Bayley every week," you're not going to have any problem with that.
True.
And as far as someone for them to idolize themselves around, you know, like for, you know, like as a role model, like I know her outside of the ring, and you're not going to find a better role model just on all levels, and that is, you know, just really cool for someone to get around. That said, as far as in-ring ability, there's Charlotte and there's everyone else. You know, she is just naturally at another level and only getting better. Like, recently talked with her about that, and you know, all that she sees is everything that she needs to improve upon. like every time I try to compliment her, she always, has like a, yeah, but I need to work on this. And, like I told her, you're never going to be perfect, but keep chasing perfection. And that's where her mind is at.
Very good words. Very good words. Hey, let the good folks know how they can stay in contact with you. Plug away, man. Social media, all that.
Yeah. At Rob Schamberger on Twitter and Instagram. Art of Rob Schamberger on Facebook. Every Sunday on WWE's YouTube channel, there's Canvas to Canvas. On WWEshop.com, we've got the line of shirts and about to have prints available on there as well. And on WWE Auction, we put up new signed prints regularly. So my artwork and then signed by your favorite wrestlers. So like right now, we've got what's especially cool is one signed by both Hardy Boys that's moving pretty quick. Pretty dang happy with that one.
Awesome. So check that out. And when is that auction in for the Hardy Boys piece?
It's actually a buy it now. We've got multiple prints, so they're moving pretty quick though.
Okay, I'll definitely make sure we put some links in the episode description so folks can check that out. And let's definitely stay in contact, man, because I'm going to be looking to you at Awescome-con, man. Hopefully you can kind of calm me down a little bit because I'm trying to shake off the nerves, but to see a friendly, familiar face would definitely help out.
Oh, dude, we're going to see you there, and think about what kind of diagram you're going to bring and ask people questions about.
Okay, I will definitely work on that. I promise. I promise. Does the dog wear it in the front or does the dog wear it in the back?
Ask them if they think that Smallville should have ended with him in the suit.
Dude,
something like that. Everyone's going to have an opinion on that, man.
Dude, I just might go there.
Go there.
Oh, thank you so much, Rob. You enjoy the rest of the week, okay, buddy?
You too, Lee. Thank you.
Right, thank you. Rob Schamberger, thank you so much. I needed that. I think I'm going to ride that. I'm going to ride with the dog wearing the weird pants, and I'm going to ride with the freaking, hey, what did you think about Smallville ending and Tom Welling didn't put on the freaking suit? I can just imagine the looks I'd get. Huh? What? I'm like, dude, you're still tripping over that? That was like 7 years ago. Let it go, dude. Let it go. Nah, seriously. That was awesome. I really hope you guys had appreciated that great conversation there. And yeah, that was awesome. That was fantastic. Mr. Rob Schamberger, really appreciate him taking the time out to do that interview. Really great stuff.
Enjoy all episodes of the RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.